Hi there. I'm Charlie Gilbert, and I'm the Executive Director of Musicalab, a nonprofit organization that supports musical theater creators here in Philadelphia. On Monday, June 26, Musicalab will present a showcase featuring work by 7 writing teams from Philly. Over the past few days, I've spoken on Zoom with each of our writing teams about their shows, and in this video, I'll share one of those conversations with you. If you love musical theater, you'll want to join us at the Proscenium Theater at the Drake in Center City, Philadelphia on Monday, June 26th at 7 p.m. to check out the amazing work being created by these writers. I also encourage you to support Musicalab by clicking on the link in the comments and donating to our GoFundMe campaign. Thanks for your support. All right, here's the video. I am here with the 3 writers of Moon Over the Brewery, Bruce Graham, Michael Hollinger, and Rob Maggio. Thank you all for spending time with me. Bruce, you're enjoying some coffee at your cabin, I see. That's great. And Bruce, as I understand it, Moon Over the Brewery started life as your play. Is that right?
Yes, back in 1990. In fact, Michael was the dramaturg on it at the Philadelphia Festival Theater. Okay. And it's actually my most produced play because it's clean, 4 characters, 1 set. And then I adapted it into a movie for ABC Family. So we had 2 different scripts to work from when we wanted to enlarge it. And it was Michael's idea, Michael and Rob's idea to do it. It wasn't my idea. So
okay. Well, for those who are not familiar with it, what's the play about?
It's about a very precocious 13-year-old girl living on the side of a mountain, like outside of Scranton or something, with an artistic mother, and she just wants to get out. And every time mom has a boyfriend show up, her imaginary friend from childhood arrives to help drive him off. And they reach a point where now she's got to figure out what's best for her mother, along with what's best for her.
Oh. So Michael, Bruce says it was partly your idea to make a musical of it. What was it in the play that you thought made it a possible musical?
Well, the play's got such incredible heart to it. It's also very, very unusual to have a play that's really centered on a mother and daughter, and then to have this imaginary friend who's such an inherently theatrical character. He really wanted to sing all along. Graham just didn't know it when he wrote the original play. But the character is made for musical theater. And really, as we began to talk about it and talk with Rob about, what makes this thing sing, it just felt like the musical moments, especially the expanded version of the idea, as Graham said, it was a 4-character play in a single setting, but the screenplay that Graham wrote showed a much wider world and actually created a kind of town around these people, which very much felt like an ensemble-based musical. So in working with Rob, then as we began to try to find these musical moments, they really presented themselves quite easily. It doesn't mean we hit the right one right away each time, but definitely there were moments where you felt like, oh, this is the line or this is the launch of a song within an individual scene. So now that fluctuation between the small, intimate world that the original play comprised and that wider world that has a whole town as the character, that really was our aim, to move between those 2 modes very fluidly.
Great. I hope we're not getting too much of the wider world here. I'm hearing a little bit of Philadelphia seeping in through my window here.
Oh,
so Rob, what is it about this story that excites you as a composer?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I want to add that I was also there way back when it was produced at, was it Festival Theater for New Plays?
Right.
At Annenberg Center. And I actually saw the first production or the production of it that was there at that time and loved the play. Yeah. And so Michael, at some point, we were finishing up Touchtones and you said, new project. And you said, yes. How about this?
Well, actually, Graham and I had started chipping away at Moon Over the Brewery with the 2 of us, because I also write music, but Rob writes music better than I do. And and I thought, maybe this is a threesome and not just a twosome. And yeah, it's worked out.
But the thing that I think Michael brought this up already, I think that the thing that sold me was the imaginary friend. I think that seemed like a kind of magical musical theater character. it's oddly enough not where a lot of the score lives. It's just one of the facets of the score. The other thing that Michael mentioned is it's a really intimate story, this mother-daughter show. And that's kind of what I saw when I saw the original production. And I thought, how would you make a musical out of that? But I think a lot of the songs sort of live in that space between that stuff that's really presentational and then stuff that's incredibly like conversation and intimate and small. And then I think as Bruce was saying, the teleplay really allowed us to see a kind of bigger world outside of the home, and that allowed, I think, us to create yet another level of musical landscape for these characters to exist in. I mean, for me, my favorite stuff is the gallery stuff, because it's sort of the, Miriam out in the world having to deal with her like intimate relationship with her daughter, and then also the world of art, and she's trying to make it as an artist.
So I know that for all of you, this is not your first rodeo in the musical theater. So Bruce, maybe I can ask you, what is it that you like about writing for musicals as opposed to writing plays?
It's two things, I guess. One, I haven't done it except for Anastasia, and I was, one of the 4 credited writers on that. So it wasn't really mine. And the other thing is, I as a playwright, you're by yourself, it's and for the first time I was like going out and meeting 2 other people who I really like, and we would have my wife loved it. It got me out of the house, and I was a lot more social. So it was, in that respect, it was fun. And, everybody's been kind of raised on musicals. My mother had soundtracks all over the house. I can still do Camelot and My Fair Lady for you. And our lunches were spent sometimes going on YouTube and pulling up songs from musicals that we thought fit art. In fact, I woke up on the couch at 3:00 this morning and Bells Are Ringing was on, and Drop a Name came up, and that was one of the songs we looked at. So the collaboration was really fun, I thought.
And how about you, Michael? I know that you're a playwright as well as a composer, and music has often informed a lot of your work.
Yeah, it has. It's been close to my heart. I majored in music also as an undergraduate, and musical theater was among my first love. I mean, I'll second Graham. It's really nice not to be the only person in the room, and as a playwright working on a play, that really is an existential struggle. It's wonderful to have it's wonderful to have an existing work that you're building a musical on and adapting, and Graham's been incredibly flexible about re-envisioning this story that's been so well told and widely produced. I love being, I've been the playwright on projects, the composer, lyricist on projects, and now only the lyricist on a project. And I do love both being a participant in the story making and the way that story will adapt and how songs are selected, but also the very precise crossword puzzle work of being a lyricist. It's wonderful to be able to use a microscope and to focus on note by note, syllable by syllable, thought by thought. It's just very, very different from writing a play where you're creating a whole universe, a whole set of characters, a whole plot line, which is that's telescope work.
Yes. But lyric writing is very much like jewelry making. Ira Gershwin had a nickname. He was called the jeweler because his work had such detail and precision to it, and I like that about lyric writing as well. And Rob, you're a composer you've written for the concert hall and for lots of different things, but what is it about musical theater that turns you on?
It's the fact that it gets me out of my studio where I'm sitting right now alone most of the time, making decisions on whether or not I think that's a good note to follow that note, and this rhythm should be this rhythm, not that rhythm. And when Michael and I write songs together, Michael frequently says, well, maybe the note could be this or that, or maybe this could be accented in this way. And then we'll play it for Graham, and Graham would say, well, maybe this song goes over here instead of there. And there's this incredibly active, vibrant, collaborative process that makes the thing you're doing so much better than what it would be if it was just me sitting in the room. Also, I have to say that what I adore about writing theater is the experience of a character singing in a place where they were talking, and then now they're singing, and there's the piece sort of takes off, and there's this kind of like emotional truth that can come through when characters begin to sing that you can't quite get them to do when they're speaking. And to me, that's just sort of like the theater magic part of writing a musical, and getting those moments right when that all aligns and you are in a scene and that scene sort of heats up and becomes something that has to be sung, and then sort of lands again back in the land of on the ground of talking. It's amazing. And we can, I don't know, there's a way of creating a something incredibly three-dimensional, and that's got a lot of heat in it to me. So I love that part of the musical theater.
No, I get that too. I've experienced that myself, and that's a really great answer. Well, I'm really excited to be able to share this new work that you are all developing with our audience at this showcase. You're one of 7 different works on the program here, so there's a lot of activity for people writing musical theater in Philadelphia, and we're looking for ways to support that. So thanks for being a part of that, and thanks for talking to me today. This was fun.
Our pleasure.
Thanks, Charlie.
Mm-hmm.